Jake buys a house in 2026. Marcus rents the same caliber home and invests the difference. They both think they're making the smarter move. They're both partially right, which is exactly why this decision is costing more wealth right now than at any point in modern American history. And when you actually run the 2026 numbers, the answer your parents gave you no longer holds. Jake and Marcus both earn $95,000 a year. They both have $80,000 saved. They're both 32. They live in the same suburb. The only difference is what they sign in 2026. Jake puts $80,000 down on a $400,000 home. He locks in a 30-year fixed mortgage at 6.3%. His monthly principal and interest payment is roughly $1,981. Add in property taxes at 1.1%, homeowners insurance and maintenance reserves at 1% of home value, and his real monthly housing cost is about $2,800. He paid $12,000 in closing costs to get the keys. Jake feels like an adult. Everyone congratulates him. Marcus rents a similar home in the same neighborhood for $2,200 a month. The national average rent is $2,000, and his is slightly above that for the comparable space. Marcus takes the $80,000 he didn't put down on a house and puts it into a low-cost index fund. He also takes the $600 a month difference between Jake's true housing cost and his rent and invests that every month too. Marcus's friends ask if he's worried about throwing money away on rent. He says no. They change the subject. On day one, Jake has a house, a mortgage statement, and a story to tell at family dinners. Marcus has a brokerage account and a confirmation email. The social scoreboard says Jake is winning by a mile. Here's what often goes uncalculated. The national median monthly mortgage payment is now 20% higher than the national median rent. That's not a temporary glitch. That's the largest gap between owning and renting in modern American history. Out of 838 cities recently analyzed, only 95 still favor buying. Now let's look at the math after 5 years. Jake's home appreciates at a modest 2% a year, which is roughly the current national forecast. His house is worth about $441,000. After 5 years of payments, his mortgage balance is roughly $299,000, leaving him with about $143,000 in equity. Subtract his original $80,000 down payment, and he's gained roughly $63,000 in equity above what he put in. But here's what that $63,000 actually cost him. 5 years of mortgage interest, $98,000 gone. Property taxes, $22,000 gone. Insurance, $9,000. Maintenance and repairs, $20,000. Closing costs, $12,000. He spent roughly $161,000 on housing in 5 years to gain $63,000 in equity above his down payment. Marcus's $80,000 invested at a historical 10% S&P 500 average return is now roughly $129,000. His extra $600 monthly contribution over 5 years is now roughly $46,000. His total investment account, about $175,000. Marcus gained roughly $95,000 above his original $80,000. After 5 years, Marcus is sitting on $175,000 in liquid wealth he can access in days. Jake has $143,000 of equity locked inside a house he can't access without selling. But here's where it gets worse. If Jake decides to sell in year 5, he loses roughly 8% of his sale price to agent commissions and closing costs. That's $35,000. More than half his equity gain, gone the moment he tries to access it. After all selling costs, Jake walks away with about $108,000 net, which is just $28,000 more than his original down payment. Marcus is still ahead by nearly $67,000. If only one side were shown, that would be misleading. Buying still wins in specific situations. If you're staying 7 to 10 years or longer, the math shifts back toward owning. If you live in the Midwest or parts of the South, buying is actually cheaper than renting in 57% of those counties. If rent inflation in your city outpaces wage growth long-term, locking in a fixed mortgage is a hedge. But for the average American buying a median-priced home in 2026 with a 5-year time horizon, the math is brutal. The down payment opportunity cost alone consumes most of the appreciation gain. Real estate professionals and lenders rarely emphasize this comparison. Your parents bought when rates were 4% and prices were 33% lower. Their advice was accurate then. It no longer applies in 2026. The real lesson isn't buying, it isn't renting. The real lesson is that following advice from a different decade, without checking whether the math still works in this one, leaves a great deal of wealth on the table. Next time someone says renting is throwing money away, ask them one question. Compared to what? Because the answer that includes everything is the only answer that matters.